Well, I've already broken down both of Kyler Murray's first two preseason performances, so I guess I might as well just break down his third preseason performance as well. For Murray, I think that this third preseason game was kind of an opportunity for him to show something. I mean, the first preseason game kind of went okay, although the offensive line definitely got beat up. And then that second preseason game, I mean, let's just be honest, it was terrible all around, not just by Murray, but by the entire Cardinals offense. They just got beat, and they got beat pretty badly. It wasn't in many snaps, it was a small sample size, so, I even said I don't really blame him too much for that performance. Kind of just calm down for a second. And I actually thought that it was more of an example of the Raiders were just trying really hard to win and were game planning to try to beat the Cardinals, whereas the Cardinals were kind of just trying to get some reps in. But either way, I do think going into this third preseason game, kind of the dress rehearsal game, so to speak, against the Minnesota Vikings, I do think there was something that he wanted to show, even if it wasn't necessarily the biggest deal in the world. This one's going to be a fun one. The way it's going to work is it's going to be zone coverage, and the Cardinals have a receiver running a go route on the bottom half of the screen right there. Just, go along, I'll try to hit you. And this is something that I do think matters if you are a Cardinals fan. It's something you want to see going into this season. I mean, what's the main reason Kyler Murray was such a hyped up prospect coming out of the draft? I mean, it's really the fact that he's such a dual threat. Not only can he run, but he can also make these deep throws down the sidelines. And so the fact that he has a great deep ball, but also can run, it is kind of Michael Vick-like in a lot of ways. That's why the comparison has been drawn. As you see, there is a receiver who is just wide open right here. And since Murray did throw the ball in his direction, I mean, this is a play that should absolutely be complete. But not only is this a completed pass, but it's pretty much about perfect to where you would want to hit it. I mean, maybe you could argue it should be a little bit further away from the sideline, but there is a safety who's deep, so it can't just hang it up there too much. Sure, some yards after the catch would be nice, but on a play that deep down the field, you would just want to catch the ball. So I'd say that's a really good throw from Murray. I would say that's actually perfect. I would bet that that's where he was trying to hit it, and for good reason. It's a good place to put that ball to. So, for Cardinals fans, that's exactly what it was advertised when you drafted Kyler Murray with the first overall pick, is throws like that. I mean, yes, there was a pretty big gap that he could try to fit that ball into, but at the same time, he put it exactly where he wanted to put it to. So sure, his receiver was wide open, but we shouldn't hold that against Murray. I mean, he still made a great throw, so give him credit. However, he also had this one, where what happened is it's going to be a cover one hole, and they first have a receiver running right up there at the top half of the screen, who's just going to be running a go route. However, it's not quite a go route. He's actually going to be going a little bit closer to the middle of the field. Not too much, but a little bit. Because then what they'll do is they'll have the number 2 receiver run that route right there, and he could potentially get open. I mean, it's man coverage. It's definitely something that Kyler Murray could look to throw to, especially with one safety deep, who will probably get occupied by the route the number 1 receiver is running. So Murray is going to decide to look and throw in that direction. However, his throw is just absolutely nowhere close. Not even in bounds. I mean, it was way off. Part of me wonders if there was some intention to that, like if he was just throwing it away. But then again, he wasn't under pressure, and there were some routes that were open underneath, so if it was just a throwaway, then that would be a very bad throwaway. I think it kind of just got caught in his hand a little, and he just kind of slipped and just wasn't where he wanted to throw the ball to. I mean, definitely not an accurate throw on that one. Which again, one throw, I'm not going to beat him up over it. And let's be honest, if you go 1 for 2 in the deep ball, one is a huge completion down the field, and the other is just an incomplete pass, then you'll absolutely take that. But at the same time, he didn't miss the throw. I mean, again, unless he was trying to throw it away, which I don't think he was doing, because why would you throw it away in that situation? So he probably just missed the throw, and a missed throw happens. I'm not going to hold it against him too much. There is also this next one where those that are outside the Cardinals receivers will be running. So, okay, this is the first down and 10, and nothing is deep down the field. Everything is just trying to pick up a few yards here. However, one problem is going to happen once this ball is snapped, and that problem is no one's open. I mean, Kyler Murray is looking in several different directions, but there's no Cardinal who's open at this point. But this is one of the things I like about Kyler Murray. This is one of the ways that he can be effective in this Cardinals offense, is the fact that, okay, so nothing is open, so what do? Typically, you would just throw the ball away since nothing's open. But instead, he's going to scramble out of the pocket and still pick up a couple of yards. It wasn't anything major, but hey, you can't go broke making a profit. Picking up 2 yards is better than picking up 0 yards. If he took a hit to get those 2 yards, then I would say that's a bad play. But he didn't. He got out of bounds and he still picked up 2 yards, and that's the value Kyler Murray brings to any NFL offense, really. I've often said if you're an offensive coordinator with a good mobile quarterback, that's kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card in a lot of ways. Because even in a play call like that, where it didn't work, I mean, no receiver was able to get open, he was still able to pick up 2 yards on that play. And sometimes you'll be able to pick up 7 yards or 15 yards on plays like that. There probably will be moments where it actually costs you yards when you try to scramble out of the pocket and then get tackled behind the line, but I feel like way more often than not, you're going to gain yards as opposed to lose yards. There was also this one where they ran a couple of RPOs, so it could be a run to the bottom half of the screen, or Murray could keep it himself and try to hit the receiver who's running an out route right over there. It's up to Murray, and he has to be the one making this decision. And so Murray, he likes what he sees, and he's going to keep the ball himself and roll out of the pocket and try to make a throw to the top half of the screen. That's what he's going to try to do here. And so he's getting ready to make his throw, but again, this is going to be kind of a tough throw because there is a Minnesota Viking right there who could potentially leap up and knock this ball away, and that actually is what's going to end up happening. So all the people that were saying Kyler Murray's too short to play in the NFL are probably doing the Michael Scott thing where they slam their hand on the table and say thank you. But I actually wouldn't really call that a height thing too much. I mean, the throw was just a little bit too low for him. Of course, if he were 6'5", it would have been a slightly easier angle, but again, that's not really the problem. The problem was he threw the ball too low. But hey, I do want to be fair. While people probably made too much of his height and the fact that, oh, he's short, that's going to mean that he's not very good. I do think people made too much of it, but at the same time, I do think height matters. I do think that being a tall quarterback has some small implications, and it would be on plays like that. That's an easier throw for a 6'5" quarterback to make than a 5'10" quarterback to make. It just is. So for the people asking, well, how would height really matter too much? Because it's not like anyone just takes the snap under center really at all in the NFL anymore. And it's plays like that. It's smaller plays, and those plays are still possible to make if you are a smaller quarterback. You just have to be a little bit more accurate. So I figured I'd show that play to kind of just explain why, yes, height does matter. Not a big deal, but it does matter to a degree. Anyways, one more play I saw that was, again, kind of discouraging. We'll get some discouraging plays out of the way and then get over to some encouraging plays out of the way. It's once again an RPO where it could be a handoff to the bottom half of the screen. However, this time Murray is going to take it himself and run up to the top half of the screen. I mean, he doesn't know now that he's going to run up to the top half of the screen. I've just already watched the play before, so I know what's going to happen. But basically, the way he's going to decide whether or not he's going to hand the ball off or run up to the top half of the screen will all be dependent on that Minnesota edge rusher right over there. If the edge rusher stays to the outside, then Murray should just hand the ball off. If the edge rusher goes too far to the inside, then Murray keeps the ball himself and runs up to the top half of the screen. That's Murray's decision on this one. And after the ball is snapped, so okay, now is when he has to make his decision. Is he going to hand this ball off or is he going to keep the ball himself? And I should mention that on both this play and the last play, it is possible that Murray already had a play that he was supposed to do in his head. It was possible that maybe Cliff Kingsbury already said, run this play. Just because it's set up like an RPO doesn't actually always mean that there actually is an option. Sometimes there's a play that you're supposed to do no matter what happens. So that is possible, and it is kind of tough for us as fans to know exactly if that is what's happening or not, just simply because we can't hear the conversations, we don't know the play call. But, it could be either one, but it really also doesn't matter too much, because basically what I want you to look at is that edge rusher right there. He's kind of prepared for Kyler Murray run, but he isn't totally prepared. I mean, he's not totally up to the top half of the screen where there's no way that he could get blocked. As you see, he is kind of prepared for a Kyler Murray run, but it's not like he's too far up to the top half of the screen. I mean, he's in good position, but he's not in, fantastic position. He's kind of where he should be on this play, where he could still potentially get into the middle of the play for stopping a run, but also he can still potentially get up to the top half of the screen to at least disrupt Kyler Murray. So when Murray does keep the ball himself, watch how that edge rusher is just going to basically just keep pace with him. That is something you don't love to see. It's not a big deal. The edge rusher did have a step on Murray, so it's nothing crazy. But it does go to show, listen, you're not going to always be able to outrun everybody. In the NFL, you're just not going to be able to do that. But at the same time, while I did say it was kind of discouraging, I'm not too discouraged, just simply because I think we already knew that that was a thing going in. We've all been watching football for long enough to know that in the NFL, you're going to have to get by on your throwing ability as well as your running ability if you are a running quarterback. I think we all realize that at the NFL level, even if you are a mobile quarterback, you still do have to be able to throw the ball to some degree. The reason why Murray was drafted first overall wasn't just because of his running ability, it's because of his throwing ability as well. That's something that maybe you would be discouraged of if this guy was a late round pick that doesn't have a great throwing ability, but the fact that this guy can throw basically just negates that. Because if you do kind of sell out to stop the run, well then it goes back to basically how Murray played in college, where he has a great deep ball and can make some great throws deep down the field. Basically my point is that if this was a kind of quarterback that could only rely on his legs, then maybe that would kind of go to show, okay, you're not going to be able to outrun everybody every time. But I personally don't feel as though Kyler Murray relies on his running ability. I just think he uses his running ability to an advantage. I think even if he was as mobile as Eli Manning, he would still find ways to get the ball down the field. Watch this play. This is going to be a fantastic throw. It's going to be a cover one hole, and to have a receiver running an out route, it's actually going to be closer to the corner of the end zone, but just because of the camera angle, it's a little bit off. But it'll be close to the corner of the end zone, and it's an out route. And after this ball is snapped, there is going to be a very tight window that Murray has to try to fit this ball through. I mean, if you look, his receiver has almost no separation here. But Murray's going to prove why he was a first overall pick of this throw. I mean, look at it. It's just such a great throw, and it was nearly complete. I know it wasn't a completion, but that is right where you want that ball to be. I mean, it was where your receiver could catch it, however, a defensive back had no chance of intercepting it. It was either going to be a touchdown or an incomplete pass. I mean, maybe you could try to make the argument that on a 3rd down and 4, you should try to just get the first down, don't worry about the touchdown too much, but at the same time, basically with the way that the receivers were kind of struggling throughout the game to get open against the defensive backs that Minnesota has, I think it's worth the risk when you do see a small window. And especially because it was almost complete, so I would definitely say it was a good decision by Murray and just a fantastic throw by Murray. One more play. This is a small play, but I liked it. It's going to be zone coverage, and the Cardinals have their number 2 receiver on the bottom half of the screen, just running a quick route to the inside of the field, just to see if he can pick up the first down. This is a 3rd down and 3, so you would like to pick up 3 yards, obviously. And first off, right after this ball is snapped, I don't love this play for Minnesota, because simply look at the separation. I mean, you're basically just giving them the first down here. So for Murray, he's going to say thank you very much, makes a great throw, and they pick up the first down. Again, nothing fancy, nothing crazy, but hey, you gotta get a first down, especially when they give you the first down, take it. Oftentimes football is easy. Oftentimes you just see a guy open and so you make that throw. It's not that hard sometimes. But even though that degree of difficulty from that play wasn't necessarily super hard, there was also, he had to get the ball off quickly. So I did like that play from Murray. So yeah, that's what I thought of Kyler Murray's 3rd preseason performance. Let me know what you guys thought. Just answer in the comments below. I always like hearing from you guys. And as always, thanks for watching.